Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Keeping It Real podcast. I'm your host, Mackenzie and Alexis, and today is a very special episode because for the first time, we have two guests in the studio. We have Mackenzie Marsh and Alexis Mantei.
Hello.
And I'm so excited to have them here. They also have a podcast called Let's Chat Soon, and I found them, actually, y'all know Callie, so I found Mackenzie through Callie, and then also saw that her friend Alexis, they had a podcast, and I was like, okay, come on the podcast, like, we need to talk. So they are in the studio with us today, and we have two microphones, so bear with us, because they're going to be sharing, but it's going to be fun.
We'll make it work.
So welcome to the podcast. Explain a little bit about yourselves, where are you from, all the fun things. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so I'm Alexis. I'm originally from Michigan, but I moved to Florida about 3 years ago. I'm a nurse by day, yapper by night, I guess you could say. Can chat all the time. But yeah, I work in IV therapy, so I go to people's houses and do IVs. I'm really big into health and wellness. That's kind of what our podcast is all about. And that's kind of like the whole synopsis on me. I enjoy posting on social media. I was just telling Mackenzie I'm getting into my social media era again. It's
I love it.
But I love it.
I love it.
Yeah, I just have fun with it.
So fun. Oh my goodness. I love it.
I am a Florida native-ish, I guess. I was born here, moved to North Carolina for about 10 years, moved back when I was 11. So I've been in Palm Beach County for, so long now. I lived abroad for a little bit, which I love to insert in as my fun fact. I lived in Oxford, England for about 6 months, and it was the best time of my life. It really shaped a lot of who I am, gave me a curiosity for education again, which has kind of spurred the whole health and wellness thing, especially with living abroad. And the food aspect of it there, that is a whole topic I'm sure we'll touch on a little bit.
I love it.
It's insane. I don't even know how to explain what I do. Truly, I dabble in just about everything. Honestly, I'm certified as a travel agent, so I've got the travel side of content creation, and then I'm also back in school to be a health coach as well. So like Alexis said, our podcast is really driven in the health and wellness space. Yeah. We're both obsessed with it. It's changed both of our lives, and we're excited to chat about it.
I'm so excited. Yeah, so it literally just explains right there. We're going to be talking about some like health and wellness stuff, but also like how health and wellness goes hand in hand with your faith. And I'm super excited because you both are believers, so it's super good to have you guys on here. And it's also kind of crazy how you guys came on and like what the time that you guys came on, because the last 3 episodes have been about health and wellness on here, and it's been a faith-based podcast, which it still is. And again, like I said, it goes hand in hand. Yeah. So I think that it's just so cool that you guys came on at this time, because that's what my last 3 episodes have been about. So I'm super excited to dive in and to learn from you guys too, because I think I think it's just like a cool topic to talk about when we talk about faith and we talk about wellness, because faith and a relationship with God is also taking care of our bodies. So how can we incorporate that with health and wellness? So I'm super excited. Yeah. So just a couple questions. I'm going to start off with my first question for you guys. So how did your health and faith journey intersect? And can you share a time when prioritizing health helped you grow spiritually?
Yeah, absolutely. So my story with it kind of all combined when I moved back from living abroad in England, which was about a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. I moved back. My faith felt like it was on fire, and I was doing so well in the spiritual realm, but I could not get out of bed. Genuinely felt so like emotionally paralyzed. Yeah. I felt so good with the Lord, and I was like, okay, God, why are you not giving me the strength to do this? And I just kept blaming the Lord for why he was not enabling me to do all these things, to love people well, to serve people well, to even work my job well. I picked up a part-time job because I literally didn't have the motivation to do my job whatsoever. Wow. Yeah. And then I kind of came face to face with it of like, this is not a faith problem. This is a health problem, actually. And I dove into the world of like holistic health and everything like that, started eating a different way, cleansed my body for the first time, got on different supplements. And it felt like once I went through like a whole 3-month cleanse of that this veil was just lifted and I could see clearly again, and I could actually get energy. And I feel like sometimes Christians paralyze themselves by not taking care of their health. Wow, and it's so like good. You could have, like, it wasn't a faith issue, and we blame God, but in reality, like, it's our own fault. Yeah. In that aspect.
Wow, that's so good. And I actually listened to, are you familiar with Dr. Amen?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, you'll be obsessed. Have you heard of him?
Sounds so familiar. Sounds so familiar.
So Dr. Amen is a brain doctor, and he dives into all about brain health, and like you have to.
Justin Bieber's doctor?
Yes.
I know who you're talking about. Yep.
Yes. I love it. I love this. We're both just gonna be like, what?
Literally.
So yes, Justin Bieber's doctor. He went on Maddie Pruitt's podcast, and he talked about how like he actually called out like a lot of churches how we'll go into church and they'll have donuts, they'll have coffee, they'll have all these things, and it's like coffee with your Bible, coffee, which like I love coffee, so like I can't talk like coffee's. I love coffee, but like he talks about how it doesn't go, how churches don't make it hand in hand. They bring the bad foods, they bring the donuts, the pizza, the all these things. So I think it's crazy that you mentioned that, because I thought of that.
Yeah,
so.
We're really big on our podcast about talking like body, soul, spirit. They all connect, and that's just such a piece that's missing from the church. Same thing. I have a church that's like, okay, candy for kids and all this sort of stuff, and I'm like, the ingredients in those are literally killing kids. Like they're making kids sick, and we're wondering sometimes why kids have like mental health issues, and it's like, oh, well, it's a spiritual issue. Yes, it's a spiritual issue, but it's under the umbrella of health. Like the enemy is using poor health in America, in my personal opinion, to drag people away from the Lord, being like, oh, well, I tried this Jesus thing, it didn't work.
Yeah.
No, your health didn't work.
Wow, so good. So you guys, these are my new best friends. So they're gonna be on all the time. So how about you, girl? Anything that you want to touch on in that?
Yeah, I would say I have kind of my own little journey with like health and faith. And I grew up in a Christian household, grew up when I thought was like a healthy household as well. And that kind of all shifted when my mom was diagnosed with cancer about 2.5 years ago. And it was kind of a big shock. She's always been like the healthy mom, bringing an apple to chicken dinner. We always make that joke. And it was just kind of like out of nowhere. And my family's very like action takers. So I remember she pulls us in for a family meeting, tells us she's diagnosed with cancer, and we're like looking at food labels, like researching. We have the medical books out. We're like, what are we gonna do to stop this, get rid of this? And that was kind of like my approach going into the whole thing. Like I kind of panicked initially, obviously, but then I was like, what can we do to make her healthy again? Like all these like tangible things we would do, like the IVs, the food, the sleep. And it wasn't until this was probably like 3 months into her journey, she went to a healing center in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I didn't notice this until like this moment exactly, but I didn't deal with it very well. Like I thought I was fine. She had a very good outlook on it, so I was like, she'll be fine, totally. But I was going out a lot of the time, like when I would be home. So I would go visit her, and then I would come home to Florida or go home to Michigan. And I would go out with my friends, which was fine. But when I drank, I would sob, like start like sobbing to my friends, telling them all my life stories. I have a few memories of like literally sitting on the sidewalk, like leaving the bar and just sobbing. And I think I was like trying to cope that way. And there was a specific time I remember I was in my kitchen, and I'm like, wait, what is going on? Like, I literally haven't even prayed for my mom once. Like, I'll go to church and pray for like all these people like going through all these big things. I'm like, my mom is literally battling cancer right now, and like I haven't even like asked God to heal her. Like, what am I doing? Like, that is
good.
Humbling. And so there was also kind of a big turning point where I went to rehab, which I don't think we've like ever talked about this. I've never talked about it publicly. But I went out one night with my friends. I'm drinking. I get sad about my mom. I start calling like all of my ex-boyfriends, like boyfriends I haven't talked to in years.
Not the ex-boyfriends.
The ex-fiancés even. Like that's a whole nother subject. But like I'm calling them. I don't know why I always say singular.
Oh my girl, tell me more.
Calling my ex-fiancé that I haven't talked to since we broken up our wedding. Like one man. That's it. But my friends are like trying to drag me home. We had to take a boat home. They're like trying to like take me on this boat.
Where were you?
I was Jupiter. I don't know. We like took a boat to like this low key little, I don't know, whatever.
Okay.
So I finally get on this boat. Then I go home, and my one ex-boyfriend had called me back and answered, and I think he was out drinking that night as well. So he's like, you should Uber here. He lives in Miami. And so I go there to my ex-boyfriend's house at like 2 a.m. My friends wake up the next day. They're like, where were you? Like, where are you? What's going on? And I'm in Miami, obviously. So like I get home, I have to leave to go see my mom in Scottsdale, Arizona, like the next day. Or I think it was that day actually.
So
I get home, get ready. I'm like getting sicker as the day goes on with like something viral, like not because I was hungover, but something was going on. I get on the flight, my layover, I'm dying. Like I think I have a kidney disease. Like I have to go see a doctor.
That's the worst.
I land in Scottsdale. I'm so sick that I like can't see my mom because she's doing chemo, and so she's like can't be around anyone that's sick.
Right.
And so I finally like see the doctor. They're like, we test you for COVID, the flu, you have nothing. I just have like some viral thing going on.
Yeah.
So I have to get a hotel, and I ended up being sick for like 5 days. So I'm sitting in this hotel alone for 5 days, can't see my mom, which that was the only reason I was there. It was like around the holidays, and it was horrible, honestly.
Right.
But that kind of timing, I was like, okay, from this point on, like this has to change. Like we have to find other ways to cope, and it's been better ever since.
I love that, and I can like attest that so much. When I was 18, I moved to New York City for dance, and during those years, I really was like out of touch with the Lord, and like I didn't really know anything about like health and wellness. I've always known stuff about health and wellness growing up because my mom has been a nutritionist my whole life, and like being a dancer, like I always had to like be healthy and stuff, but a lot more has come out in these last couple years about like holistic stuff and all that. So I used to like my friend actually joked about it the other day. I used to like drink essential oils, like Young Living. Have you heard of it? Like I used to put a drop of essential oils in like a shot, like a shot of apple juice.
Yeah.
And my friend's always like, you literally were living holistically. We would make fun of you, but now look at all of us. Like we're trying to live like that. So, anyways, where was I going with that? Oh yeah. So when I was in New York, like I was just going through a lot. Like I was going through like breakups. I was going through trying to fit in, trying to do all the things, and I would always go out and drink to like get away from the pain or get away from what I was going through. And I was so unhealthy. I was dancing 9 to 5 Monday through Saturday. I should have been so healthy. I should have been fueling my body. I should have been fueling my mind even. But instead I was going back to the things that I knew were going to just like drown or numb away the pain, when like I know that that's someone's story out there. I know that it's been a lot of people's story. And it's just really focusing on drugs and alcohol are never going to drown away the pain. They're just going to make them 10 times worse. They're just going to elevate the feeling 10 times worse. So how can you incorporate food and incorporate the Bible or faith or whatever it is to make yourself feel better? And I think that that's just something that's so great that's come out so much in these last couple years, because as an 18-year-old, I didn't have that. So I think that's great. I love that. Such a good story. Thank you guys so much for sharing that. I guess like a follow-up question to that, what challenges did you face when your health wasn't a priority, and how did that affect your relationship with God and others?
Yeah, I think when my health wasn't a priority, I started dealing with a lot of like skin issues and gut issues that I didn't realize was things that I was like doing to my body. And I think a lot of it stemmed from stress.
Yeah.
And I started seeing doctors that really helped. But I also think the component that I didn't know would help the most was like dealing with my stress and like healing my nervous system.
Yeah.
And so once I started like dealing with the internal battles is when I really saw like the changes being made. Like you can eat healthy and go to bed on time like all you want, but until you have your mental and like your internal health figured out, then nothing's really going to change.
That's so good. That's so good.
My story was almost backwards. Like I had the mental part figured out first, but I didn't have the health part, which is so weird as a Christian to go through, because you're like, okay, I have my set of tools that I'm told this is my toolkit, and then it's still not working. And I think the biggest thing health and wellness helped me with was overcoming the Christian guilt, I guess, so to speak. Yeah. Because this time last year, I guess a little bit earlier, I wasn't speaking to my parents.
Wow.
Literally was not speaking to my parents because I could not be around them without just getting so angry. But I loved the Lord, and I knew I was supposed to have this relationship with my parents, at least some relationship with my parents.
Yeah.
And I would just get so angry with myself of like, I'm a Christian. I'm supposed to be doing this. I know I'm called to love people well, but I physically don't have it in me. And I don't know how to. Like I'm struggling so much, but again, I had the right thing. But once I sat down and addressed my actual health issues and cleared that, it was crazy what it did.
Wow.
Truly.
That's so good, because I even think back, like just you saying that, like, I literally didn't know how to forgive people or
Mm-hmm.
to let go of things. Oh my gosh, I would hold on to things for days, for weeks, until like it came up again. Like even with me and my boyfriend, like we would get into an argument and it would still go on and go on and go on, and it wouldn't like end. And once I started with faith, and then once I really got into my faith walk, that's when my health like journey came even more. Like it just came on even stronger. I was like, okay, I want to know more. I want to do more. Like, how can I be more healthy? Like, what can I do for my body? And that it really is so true. I feel like you hold on to things. Like for me, like I held on to so many things. So that's interesting. I really like that. How did that like affect your relationship with God then?
I feel like my relationship with God has always been not about what I can do for other people, but in a large part, it's like serving others, like love God, love people.
Yeah.
And I think I wouldn't have a real relationship with God because it felt like something was blocking. I would come to the Lord with so much guilt and so much shame because I felt like I wasn't living as like a quote unquote good Christian because I wasn't doing these things that I know I was called to do, but I did not have the spiritual strength. I would spend hours in the Word and I'm like, why is it not working? And it was just
so true.
I don't know. I felt like it was something like the Lord put on my heart of like, hey, there's this extra piece that is biblical, but it's not necessarily under the Christian umbrella. A lot of times, like people do overlook like, hey, treat your body as a temple. Like your body is not your own. Like it's a vessel to be used for the Lord. And when we actually like are a good steward of that, it looks like taking care of your body.
Yeah. Wow. So true. So true. I mean, I don't know what to say about that. That was so good. So good. What are some common myths about health and faith that you see, and how do you address them?
That's a good one. Common myths. I gotta think about this for a second.
Okay, you go around.
I think in health and in faith, there's like this one size fits all type of approach. Like diet plans aren't one size fits all.
Nope.
And I think your like people's individual walks with the Lord are also not one size fits all. I know certain people connect the Lord more through worship, other people through prayer, other people through reading scripture. And I think those are almost like foods you eat too. Like you need a well-balanced diet just like you need a well-bounded faith life. And people sometimes will go hard into one and then totally forget about the others. And I think that's kind of a way like faith and health kind of go really hand in hand.
Right. Absolutely. I like really agree with that, because my whole life being a dancer, it was like, how much can I not eat to like be skinnier? How much can I work out to lose weight? When I was dancing at Joffrey every single day, my body was more inflamed than it is now. Because I wasn't eating right. I was drinking all the time, and I wasn't right mentally. There was nothing about my life that was good, like mental wise, health wise, but yet I was working out and I was doing all these things and I was living my dream. And I was doing exactly what I wanted to be doing my whole life, but it wasn't making sense. And my mind was everywhere and my body was a mess.
It's crazy how inflammation works. And the more I like study health, it's like every single issue is basically inflammation based. Like every single disease basically. And it's like we eat so many inflammatory foods. We add so much stress to our life that inflames us, and it's like it all ties into one another, which is crazy.
Yeah, and I think something that's like been good for me too is like giving myself grace, like because I was a dancer and I did have like definitely body like eating disorder things that I've gone through in my life, but also giving myself grace. Like if I eat one cookie, like it doesn't mean I have to go for a 5-mile run the next day.
Right.
But that's just something that I get to work on. It's something that I'm still working on and working through. That it's like I'm still trying to like balance that and like, but also eat very healthy, but like it's okay to like do, have something every once in a while. That doesn't mean do it every day all day.
Right.
It's okay. And you can't always escape it. You can't always like, especially in America, we can't always get the best food.
No. Yeah, it's like we'll sit here and talk about health and wellness, but I had a Dr. Pepper yesterday. I had Dunkin' 2 mornings ago for breakfast. Like it is about balance. And I have a very similar story of I was down to my lowest weight 2.5, 3 years ago and put on 30 pounds within like one season of life, within a couple months, and was like, okay, I'm healthy now, but I gain more weight, but I'm not as inflamed, so that doesn't really make sense. Like, why do I feel skinnier in my face, but like I have more muscle to my body. And it's a good thing, but it's hard to get over the mental aspect of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And recently, I've done the 75 hard program. Do you know what that is? I did that like 3 times, and it was a great program. But again, for someone who like isn't good with working out and food and doesn't have a good relationship with it, it's not a good program to do. Because yes, it's making you look great and lose weight and do all these things and making you mentally tough, but at the end of the day, it's making you mentally tough in the wrong way and not fueling your body and doing it for the right reasons.
Especially as women, we shouldn't be doing that.
Yes, like now I take rest days. I never used to do that.
Right. Yeah. It's like putting high stress on our body when we're day 1 of our period. Nope.
Yeah.
You should see us. We had a funny interaction one day of her luteal phase. She comes running up to me at the gym and she's like, I can't catch my breath. I'm like, what? She's like, I'm in my luteal phase. I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Literally. I love it. It's real. It's real.
I love it. I know my friend Bree just came on last episode and we talked about cycle syncing because I'm just learning about it too. Like I didn't really know anything about it. So she's teaching me and helping me through it, but it helps so much. I'm like, oh, this is why I feel like this. This is why when Chase looks at me with one eyeball, I want to literally kill him. I get it. Like,
it's so true.
It's so true. Like when he walks by me, when he breathes, I'm like, please stop. Like,
get away from me.
Yeah. Don't touch me. Don't look at me. And like, I feel terrible, but like, I'm like, oh, okay, that's why. Change that mindset.
Yeah. Do you tell him? Have you like informed him about this?
About the
female cycle? Okay. We just did a whole episode on this.
I love
like
it.
Things we'll never do in our luteal phase, and we're just like warning our boyfriends.
Yes.
Like, don't touch me. Don't look
me.
at me. Don't have a heavy conversation with me right now. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah. And if like you even like try and come near me, like it's not gonna go well. Yeah.
I'm like a bully. I like actually pick on him and I feel so bad.
So do you both have boyfriends?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So how long have you guys been in your relationships for?
I've been in mine for like a year and a half.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. We talked for like a while. It's like almost like 2 years.
Okay.
And I've been dating mine for 7 months.
Oh, nice. Oh my gosh.
Babies. I know.
So cute. So cute. Relationships are so fun, you guys. They are fun, but not when you're in your luteal phase. You're like, get away from me.
No, it's true.
I think the only thing I would just reiterate is like the whole if your mind isn't well, then your body can't be well. And I think what we talk about on the podcast is like mind, body, spirit, right? Yeah, it's all 3 of them. Yeah. And they all have to be working together. So I don't know. I think that was just something I just didn't grasp. Like I was thinking I could run on just like this chaotic fuel, but as long as I was eating healthy and working out and like going to church and reading the Bible sometimes, like I would be okay. Yep. But until I actually slowed down and just calmed my nervous system, that was like when I truly saw change and I truly felt better so that I could actually like learn something in church and go out and serve people and just like love people better. Yeah. So I think that's just, it's hard to do, especially for someone like me. I feel like I always used to say I thrive off chaos.
Thrive in the chaos.
Love it. I love, which I do. Like I love the adrenaline.
Yep.
But it's just, it's not really serving me as great as it has in the past.
Girl, I could not understand you better with that. I did a whole episode and I was like, I literally thrive in chaos. Yeah. I come from a crazy New York family. Like it is constant chaos when we are together. Screaming, yelling, it's chaos. Food's getting thrown on the table. As soon as the food hits the table, you need to be running to get it because it's going to get cold in 4.5 seconds. Like chaos.
Yeah.
But
go.
Yes. But I have really learned to calm down and really learned to be steady. And I'm so grateful, like, not to go to my boyfriend again, but so grateful for him because he taught me that. And if it wasn't for him, I would not be in that state. He really just goes at a level like this. He doesn't really go up or down, and I love him for it. I don't know how he does it, but it's taught me so much patience, and it's taught me so much like how to just be in the moment, be where I am, and like. It's okay when a million things are going on around you. Like, how can you just be? And I think that's also something with the Lord. He gives us peace. And my life could be going in 17,000 directions. I could be so scared about money. Money couldn't be coming in. But for some reason, I have peace in the Lord that he's going to provide and that he's going to come through. And that's like something I always tell my listeners. Like, I just hope that you feel that one day because I have my whole life, like, money has been an issue in my life. Money has been a huge thing in my life. And I finally can, like, just sit back and just say, I know the Lord's going to provide because when has there been a time in my life when he hasn't? To, like, actually think about that, it's like, my friend Callie asked me that the other day because I was like stressed about something. She's like, when does he not provide? And I'm like, you're right. He has always provided. I'm like, let me just be sad for a second. But yeah, I think that's really good. Like learning how to calm down, learning how to be, and your body will just naturally be better.
If you think like, I can't imagine Jesus being like a stressed out, chaotic person running around. And like, if we're trying to be more like him, then we probably shouldn't be that either.
Yeah, so true. I love it. I love it. All right. So, how do you balance self-care without feeling guilty about prioritizing yourself?
Ooh, that's a good question because I feel like I've recently been just like hearing different like narratives on this whole like self-care thing. Like, are we going too far with it? I don't know. I feel like sometimes we're like so self-care that it almost becomes selfish.
Yeah.
But I think naturally I'm not like that. I'm more put myself last. That's just like naturally how I am.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to do the opposite of like bring myself back because I know if I'm not good, I can't be the person to other people.
So true. Yeah.
But I think you just kind of have to analyze the type of person you are.
Yeah.
And I know it's like hard to find the balance, but try as much as you can to find the balance. So if you do lean more towards like always putting the time and effort into yourself, maybe try to see how you can put that into other avenues of your life. But if you're like me and I'm like, I put myself last, like, let's not care about me, then taking like, I've been doing like Sundays, like I try to not be on my phone, not do work.
So good.
Go to the farmer's market, you know, do my whole self-care routine. I'll do like a meal prep, go to church. And that's been really helping, like dedicating one day to just not taking work on and not being a crazy person.
I love
just
that.
like actually letting myself rest. And that's been nice. I just watched a movie last night, actually. I was at the movie theater. I haven't been in forever. But it was a really random movie, but something that stuck with me, it was like two cousins, and they were basically on this trip, and one of them was like so laid back, like chill, anything could happen, and he was just like, oh, okay, like kind of the person you would want to be around, like just chill, charismatic. And the other one was kind of like awkward but like uptight, and like everything had to be perfect all the time, and like you couldn't step out of line. And the guy was like, you are like an intelligent person stuck in a body that's always running late. And I was like, ooh, I don't want to be that person.
Ooh, that's
like that's
good.
a good way to think about it. So I've literally been thinking about that all day. I'm like, I feel like I'm a intelligent person stuck in a body that's always messing up and running late. But it's true. And I've just like been reminding myself of that, and it's helped me slow down.
Wow, so good.
Going off of how you started that conversation, I have gotten so much hate on the internet for talking about how much I hate the self-love movement. I think it's stupid. I think it's so stupid. I think everyone being like, oh, self-love, oh, this, whatever. They say that and then they put a period at the end of that sentence. There should not be a period at the end of that sentence. Why are we doing things for ourselves?
Yeah.
What is the point of that? Like, if we're just going through our life being like, all right, great, I prioritized myself, I stayed in my own little bubble, and then I died alone.
Yeah.
What?
That's so good.
Literally,
true.
what?
Yeah.
Like, what is the point of that?
Yeah.
But instead, kind of going what Alexis said, why are you doing that? Why are you prioritizing yourself? Okay, I'm prioritizing myself so I can show up as a full person. Okay, I'm prioritizing my health so I can show people Jesus better, so that I can do X, Y, Z, so that I can make a difference. I don't know why the self-love has a period at the end of it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no purpose to it whatsoever when you put a period at the end of that sentence.
That's so true.
So,
oh my
so,
gosh.
So stupid.
We'll just end the podcast there. That's so true, because you really are. You are not doing it to benefit yourself, but you're doing it to benefit everyone around you.
Yeah.
Me being a Christian, me being in the world is making me a better person, making people want to be around me.
Right.
Because before I was scaring people away because I was crazy mean New York McKaylee yelling at everyone. Like, no one wants to be around that. So when I started incorporating little self-love, because I'm just like you, Alexis, like I really do put myself on the back burner, and I'm learning more and more to like, it's okay to do things for yourself. It's okay to take a second. So that's good. Don't put a period at the end of self-love. I love it. I love it.
It's like finding your why in basically everything. I don't know how people walk through life and are just like, oh, I'm doing this, and there's no why. And I think that's I don't know. People aren't Christians either without, like, Jesus is the why at the end of the day.
I know.
I don't really know how people
how do you
go
live
through life
I don't
without
get it.
that. I don't
know.
understand it.
I think about that all the time. How are you living life? Like, because I think about, I've believed in Jesus my whole life, but like never had him at the center of my life. And I was just living. I was just doing life. It was just every day waking up. Okay, here's the next thing. I was literally living my dream life, dancing on cruise ships, traveling the world, got this getting paid to travel the world, had like all these things, European boyfriend, like I was living my best life. But for some reason, well, not that part, but
we'll dive into that on our show, don't worry.
That was not a good part. But I was doing all the things that I wanted to do, that I quote unquote wanted to do, and that was the perfect life, but I had no purpose of why I was doing it.
Yeah.
And I was just floating and coasting through life, of being like living in this little fairy tale bubble of, oh cool, here I am. You know what I mean? But yeah. Good. Yeah. I love that.
When you have that why, it makes all those other things, like all the dreams that come true, that are like big things, but also like little things at the grand scheme of things, seem so much more heightened too. It's like, okay, having those cool things is so much cooler because you have the gratitude towards the Lord. It's not a gratitude towards yourself.
Yeah.
It just like makes life more fun.
Yeah, seriously. And like, even like the other day, something like exciting happened, and I'm just like on my knees, like, thank you, Lord. Like, thank you so much, because how else would this be happening? I've literally been praying for these exact little things to be happening, and they're all happening right now. Just because I've been on my knees praying, I've never got on my knees praying. Like, I'm doing that. I'm reading my Bible. I'm getting that why with him of like, this is for you. You're doing this for me. So it just makes everything, like you said, more fun and more exciting.
Yeah.
I love that. So any last thoughts for listeners that you just want to say, like any encouragement?
Yeah, I think it can be kind of scary when you're starting a journey, whether it be a faith journey or maybe you're starting like a health and wellness journey.
Yeah.
And my biggest piece of advice for either one starting is take it slow. Like, don't rush in and try to do everything under the sun. If it's you want to be more healthy, don't try to change your diet, change your lifestyle, track everything all at once. Like, take it step by step, take it slow, find a couple people that you can like look up to as a mentor and listen to them, because also there's so many voices out there.
So many.
Find people that you trust that have some background on what they're saying and just take it slow.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Find experts in the field. Find in health and in faith. It is difficult because there is so much noise out there, and it's like there is so many different denominations just as much as there is so many diets out there. I have like one podcast in the health space that I feel like for the most part I'm kind of sticking to what they say. Yeah. And in the same way, I mean, honestly, I would say use your Bible over anything. Don't just like follow one person's theology, because that's not going to work so well for you. I can promise that. But kind of going back to one main voice in the space, whether again doctor or your Bible, and then yes, you can have all the other things play into it, get encouragement from other places, but be rooted in something. I feel like that's helpful. And then her point about community too. We didn't really touch a huge point on community, but community has like changed my life and holding me accountable in different ways, and in faith and friendships and life and jobs and health too.
And the right community.
100%.
Because like I've been in so many bad communities and it's like so hard to find the right, but listen to your gut and trust your gut of like who your community is. Because community has, like you said, it's changed my life. It changed my world. But that is like, those are the people that are going to hold you accountable. Who can you trust? Who can you go to? And also, who can you trust and go to, but not being in like a gossiping way? And I think that's something that I've really learned too. Like, you need to have those people that you can go to, but you need to be careful with what you say about the people you love too. And that's also like getting your mind right about those things is going to affect your health and make you feel so much better as well. But community, like, all the way community. Yeah, so I love that. Well, thank you guys so much. Tell everyone where they can find you. I want to, so that everyone can follow you.
Our show is pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts at. It's called Let's Chat Soon Podcast, and then we're also at Let's Chat Soon on Instagram. I'm Mackenzie with 2 E's, Marsh, and then are you just Alexis Mantei? And then Alexis at Alexis Mantei on Instagram.
Awesome. And I'll put their everything in the description box too, so that you guys can find them. Thank you guys so much for coming on. This was so fun.
Oh, it was so fun.
Oh my God. Fun. I got 2 new friends. You guys are going to see pictures with these girls now. You guys are going to be my other friends. I got more. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. Go and follow them. Go listen to their podcast. And as always, keep it real out there. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.